Hi, I'm Tina Piermarini of Tina Cooks. Here's the scoop on making soup. Today we're going to start out with a basic chicken broth. I don't really consider this a soup. This is just a base to get started on some of your soups. I've got my whole chicken in there. I'm going to put in some fresh celery, some carrots. I'm leaving everything big because I want to either be able to strain this and definitely degrease it. What I do is I chill it. All the fat comes to the top, and that's how you get a nice fat-free broth. I'm going to leave these garlics whole too. I got a bang. I'm just going to crack them a little bit so that we can get what we need out of them, okay? I'm going to throw in, usually I like the whole bay leaves, but I have this, so I'm going to try this. And where I'm straining the broth, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put some bay leaves in there, some nice fresh pepper. I'm not going to over-season this either. I'm not going to use a lot of salt because as we make soups today, you're going to notice that I use a variety of broths, bases, vegetables. I use frozen vegetables. You can make a soup that takes you 4 hours, and you can make a soup that'll take you an hour. There's about 10 quarts of water in here and whole chicken. We're going to put this on this back burner because this broth is going to have to cook at least 2-3 hours. It's going to have to come to a boil. You always start, when you start a broth like this, you start with nice cold water. You don't want to start with hot water. We have the broth on. Now we're going to start with cream of broccoli. I'm going to show you what's going to go into our cream of broccoli. Naturally, you have some nice fresh broccoli. Now I have used bags of the broccoli florets. Now I did buy some cauliflower to throw in here. It is frozen, so I'll show you how we add that in. I'm going to use a potato, I'm going to use an onion, and I'm going to use celery, and I'm going to use a couple of cloves of garlic. Okay. Now naturally, I'm going to clean my broccoli, and you can steam it if you want ahead of time, but I feel it's not necessary. It's going to cook in the soup. So I'm not going to save the stumps. You can put them right into the soup. I'm going to save them for the vegetable soup. Cut them right down. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to cut over to the stove, and I'm going to show you how we're going to put this together. I decided to clean my stumps. I clean my stumps and they go in soup. Okay, so now I like to start mine out with a little bit of olive oil, get my onions, garlic going, get a little flavor in there. Ordinarily you would just start it in a broth. I don't do that. I like to taste my stuff. I'm going to season this a little bit because I want to have some flavor in there. Now, I'm using broccoli and cauliflower. My Auntie Sunny loves to make a zucchini soup, which is made, it's just with zucchini. You can use zucchini, summer squash. I've made this with broccoli and spinach. You can do leeks and broccoli, leeks and cauliflower. Mix whatever vegetables you want. It's just a pureed soup. With the broccoli, you can add cream, so you can have cream of broccoli soup. can add milk if you don't want the heaviness of the cream. You can add cheddar if you want cream of broccoli soup and cheddar. This is just a base to give you a baseline of how you can make these pureed soups. I'm on Weight Watchers, so naturally I don't mind putting a little bit of oil and a few things to give it a couple of what we call points, but I don't go crazy with cream and cheese because this is almost like a free lunch for me, just about, or very, very little calories. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of parsley. Okay. Now, I'm using the frozen cauliflower. When I use a frozen vegetable, the thing I like to do most is put it in warm water so that the ice comes out of it. Okay? We're going to put this all in here. Okay, and we're going to take water. I don't know if my pot's going to be big enough. Now, we're not going to fill this to the top because we don't want to have all this extra juice left, because I like mine a little thicker. Okay? Now, the only thing about the cauliflower, because it is frozen, it's already almost like pre-cooked. So I'm going to get this broccoli going, steaming, cooking, and then when it's almost there, I'm going to add the cauliflower, because if you add the cauliflower at this time now, it's going to overcook, and I think it just gets too saturated. So we're going to cover this up if I can. I just keep pushing this down, hoping I can get the cover on. I'm sticking my finger in there because I do want a little more water, because I do want to steam it. Now with this soup, I have collagen broth or chicken broth, beef broth. I am going to use a base. I love chicken base. Chicken base it's a pure chicken flavor. I'm going to use about a tablespoon of this base. I'm going to put it right in there and sink it into the water. Okay? That is going to flavor the the broccoli. It's going to flavor it. Every soup I make is made with some form of a broth or base or cube. I'm going to show you the soups we make. I'm going to try to use as much of a variety as I possibly can, because soup is a wonderful thing. It's a healthy thing, and you can make a quick soup and it still can be very delicious. We're going to simmer this down, get it cooking, and we'll get ready for the next soup. We'll be back in a few. Okay, now I'm going to give you the poop on beans. These are kidney beans, dried kidney beans. I'm going to take a handful or so, and I'm going to put them in here. I want to make a vegetable or a minestrone. To me, a vegetable and a minestrone is very similar, because it's what you put in it that makes it the different soup. These are, what are they? They're Great Northern beans. The navy beans are kind of small for me. Now, a lot of people think you have to soak your beans overnight. It's good if you remember. A lot of times, I don't remember to soak my beans, so when I get up in the morning, I soak them. I also add a little bit of baking soda. I feel as if they de-poop your beans. Take the excess gas out. Now you have to rinse them when you do this, because you don't want, this is very salty tasting, so if you leave it in, use about half a teaspoon or so per cup. Take really, really, really hot water. You can boil the water if you want to. And then just take your beans and make sure that they're nice and covered. See how that's steaming? And in an hour or so, maybe not even, we're going to time it. What time is it, Carl? It is 12:15. So we're going to see how long these beans actually take to swell. We're going to add our cauliflower now in here, like this. All right. We're going to bring the broccoli up to the top. Now, a lot of time the broccoli discolors because it's steaming. That's okay. If you want to make it greener, I'm going to show you a secret. Okay. I am going to get a spoon. Where's my spoon? Because what I want to do at this point right now is check a little bit for seasonings. You don't want it shabba. You don't want it not tasting like anything. That's actually good. I did add an extra tablespoon of chicken base in here, so there's 2. And we'll be right back. This is my KitchenAid processor. You can use a blender. You can use a masher. You can use, something to puree. Okay? Now, a lot of times when I make a soup like this, the kids like it chunky. Now, chunky means they want parts of the vegetable. So I'll take a little bit of cauliflower out and a little bit of broccoli out. Nice little piles here. All right. And some of the stumps, I puree the stumps. I don't like the stumps left out. I like the heads, the broccoli heads. We're going to take this and we're going to put it in here. I'm going to do the garlic, the potatoes, the onions, the celery, everything's going in here. Okay. Now remember when I said about how the broccoli had lost its green? This is spinach, and this is very green, okay? And it's going to pick the color of that soup right up. I am going to use a little bit of the broth, okay? Because we want to puree it. I love this soup. You can do so much with the soup. All right, we're going to make a little bit of noise here, so. Okay. And here we go. I didn't add spinach to that one because I think it's green enough. Okay, now, usually, if I were to freeze this soup, this is how I would freeze it. I wouldn't do anything else to it. When I'm going to store a soup for freezing, I never finish it off completely. I won't freeze a soup with beans. I won't freeze a soup with pasta. I'm just chopping these up nice and easy, nice and chunky. You could also leave chunks of potatoes, whatever you want to leave chunks of. Alrighty, we're going to throw this in here. Okay. This is the base of your cream of broccoli soup. Oh, we don't want that in there. Get rid of it. That's a celery that wouldn't chop up. Alright. This is a great, great soup. This is the cream, what I call cream of broccoli soup. Alrighty. This is going to be a quick lentil soup, okay? Lentil soup, you gotta cook your lentils probably about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. You have to make sure you look through your lentils for stones, because they do have stones in these sometimes, okay? Now, when I make lentil soup, I don't like pasta in my lentil soup. A lot of people like pasta, and if that's what you like to do, knock yourself out. I'm a barley person. I love barley in a lentil soup. Now, I'm going to add, maybe I should measure, I don't think I have to. I'm going to say this is probably about 1/2 cup, 3/4 of a cup. Now, you want to be careful for barley because barley is going to swell. Oh, God, 2 times its size. So you definitely want more lentils than barley. Now, I brought this bowl over here because not only am I going to shuffle through this just a few more minutes because there's still some dark beans in here that I'm not happy with. These beans are dirty, okay? They've been, that looks like a little ball. They've been in the, whatever, processed, and they're dirty. So what I like to do is we're going to rinse them off. Just like so. This is warm water. Oh, gotta get rid of this little guy too. Don't like him. I don't like him. Or her. We don't want to just say him. Okay, now there we go. And you can see that your water is definitely cloudy. Okay? So now I'm going to take this dish down here and I'm going to let these soak right there, and I'm gonna move this out of the way. Now, in this pot, we're going to take some oil. Okay, that is gonna be hot. We're gonna take celery, carrots, and onions, which is, if you want it's a mirepoix. Okay, put those in there. And we're going to, oops, drop my brush. Get those going. At this point, I would either use a ham hock or a piece of a ham steak or a little ham roast. But I want to show you that you don't have to always start with a piece of meat or something that you don't need to start with that. We're going to use a mix of a beef broth and a ham bouillon. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because when I make soup, I just don't start with just the broth. You can use bases in bouillon and broths. I want to show you how you do this. I do like to take my beans and put them in here. Get them steaming a little bit. I am going to season them at this point. Okay? I'm using a little bit of granulated garlic. I'm using some nice fresh pepper. I'm going to go easy on the salt. When you use bases in bouillon, it's salty enough. So you really do have to be careful with the salt. You can add bay leaves, you can add oregano, you can add thyme, whatever flavor you like. Okay? See, now these beans are just steaming up just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to open this beef broth. Remember what I said about the cans, man. Wipe off your cans. Whee! We don't know where they've been. Okay. This is beef. I don't always go to the very bottom. I don't want the fat. If you notice, there's no real fat in here. Just a little bit. You start seeing it come out. You don't need that very bottom. It's going to be all fat. We don't want fat. Fat's bad. Okay. Now, you can leave this at just a beef base if that's what you want. But I'm partial to a little bit of ham flavor with my lentil. So this is a ham block. Very good. Instead of having, the ham itself. If you don't have it, you don't need to. Meat, like I said before, I like a ham hock, but I'm going to use the cubes to show you that you can do it with that also. I am going to add some water because, like I said before, the base, the cube, is very, very, very salty. Okay? Now, you can leave it at this kind of a base with the beef and the ham. I like tomatoes in my lentil, always have. So what I'm going to add, I have my regular tomato sauce, but I also have this squirt pizza sauce, which is really, really good. And I'm going to use this because I want you to see that I really do use it. Now I'm going to probably squirt in about 1/3 of a cup. I like sauce in my lentils and spinach, and I'm going to cut up some spinach, and I'm going to put that in here too. Okay, I'm going to drop this in. Now, believe it or not, ouch, that's kind of hot. This is all there is to this soup. This is it. This is lentil soup. I'm going to cover this up. We're going to bring it to a boil. It's going to simmer 1.5 hours to 2 hours. We'll be back to check it. All right, we're going to start with the minestrone. Now, I'm going to start with a beef shank. Okay? You can also make the minestrone with a ham hock if you want a ham flavor. I like the beef myself, okay. Now the one thing that I want to point out is I want that a little hotter. When we were doing the lentil soup, I forgot to put a couple of cloves of garlic in there. So I did add a couple of cloves of garlic in there, okay. Got that simmering. Now I am going to season my meat. Okay, and I'm gonna cook it. I want it nice and brown. I want to brown it off. I want the flavor of the meat in there. That's important. Okay? Now this is actually going to take a few minutes to saute, because you do want to saute it. You don't want it going so high that it's going to burn. Now, this is a very, very important thing. The meat tends to stick. I've burnt myself 1,000 times. When you're trying to loosen that thing, pull it off the heat. Keep your face out of the way and your arms covered. That's a big secret. Okay. I'm going to loosen it because I do tend to fry myself to death. Alrighty. Now we're just going to let that go a few minutes because I want it nice and brown. Now see how nice and brown that's getting, and see how the oil is getting all that nice flavor in there? Ooh, yeah, that's good. Okay, now in here I have, naturally, onions, celery, green beans. I'm going to throw in the fresh stuff and get that going. Now, you can add canned corn if you want, if you don't want to use frozen. You can add just frozen corn if you'd rather just use all fresh, that's up to you. I just want you to see the variety of things you can use. You can use frozen vegetables, you can use beef broth, you can use beef base, you can use real meat. Soups is not the big mystery that everybody thinks it is. You just gotta add what you like to eat, make sure it's seasoned good. In about 2 hours, you got great soup. Okay, I'm gonna throw in my beans next. I am gonna season with pepper and garlic again. I'm not going to add too much salt because I am going to use chicken base on this. I like my beans to sweat a little bit with the meat, get a little bit of that flavor in there. I'll let that go a minute. The next thing I'm going to do is add some water. Okay. Now this is a gallon pitcher. It was kind of half full. So I have a nice good sized beef shank. I've probably used maybe 2 cups of beans, about 1.5 cups of frozen vegetables, and about 2 cups of the celery, carrots, onions. You have to make your soups as hearty or with as much juice as you like. I personally love a nice hearty minestrone. All right, I'm just going to mix this in, okay? I am going to use chicken base. Okay, now I'm going to use a good 1/4 cup of that chicken base because I want it to mix in with the beef. When I make a minestrone, I like to use beef, I like to use chicken. I like to use chicken, I like to use ham. I also like to use all 3 of them. If you use all 3, chicken, beef, and ham with onions, makes a great onion soup. That's another soup. I mean, we could do soup for days. That's how many soups there are. Okay. I'm adding a little more water. This is going to be about 1.25 gallons of water. Now, I also like to add my tomato sauce. I do use my tomato sauce in a minestrone. You can use tomato paste. You could use whole tomatoes. You could use crushed tomatoes. You don't even have to add tomatoes if you don't want to. I haven't seen too many minestrones where they're not tomato based, so I would suggest using a sauce. Okay, we're going to cover this up. We're going to bring it to a boil. Our lindika is simmering, and that was cute. And our chicken broth is going to town. I'm taking down some pastas. I have mini penne, the floral, they're like little tiny flowers, and a bag of rice. Now when I make soups, I don't boil my pastas in the soups. I keep my pastas and my rice separate because it absorbs the juice and it clouds the broth. So unless you're eating it right away, then you can, I still won't boil it in here, I prepare it and have it ready. All right, so we're gonna set these aside for now. These soups have been boiling about 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and 20 minutes. I lowered this one down a little bit. Now when I checked this, I didn't think there was enough vegetables in here, not for me anyway. So what I did was I took the rest of that frozen vegetables and I put them in here. Now the thing when you make soup, it's very important to taste it. Because yes, I use chicken broths and I use bases, but I like to cook them. I don't add the base at the last minute. I like to boil it out and get it going. So I'm going to get a spoon, we're going to taste these and make sure they taste good, because if they don't, I'm going to season them and give them what they need. Okay, this is the lentil. Now this is like lava, so. Oh, good. I like that one. Okay.
Danger, danger, Will Robinson.
Hot. Oh, shaba shaba. See, now this one is a little bit flat. I'm not happy with that at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Now I like to add some cheese at the end of this also, but this just doesn't have enough taste for me. Now the reason why I'm doing this now is because the beans are still hard and everything's still hard, and this seasoning can cook into the broth some more. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're adding it at the end. Now this does have an hour to go, and that meat can probably still draw some flavor. But I think I am going to grab a ham bouillon, and I'm going to throw a ham bouillon in there just to give it that little extra kick, because I like kick. I know you people are probably saying to myself, oh my God, listen, they do this in the restaurants too. If you think they boil a chicken and it tastes like great soup, you better think twice, because you got to fix it. We call it fixing it. Alrighty. These will look great. These are to bring it down. See how the barley's swelling in the spinach, and oh, that's just heaven on earth. I love that one. That one's a good one. And this one, we're gonna just let it simmer and boil. It needs to cook some more. Okay, another thing you want to notice too is your beans. Check your beans. There's still a little bit, but not too bad. You don't want them too squishy. All right, we're gonna let these simmer about another half an hour, and we'll be back. This is our cream of broccoli. I'm going to put a little bit of Romano cheese on that. Minestrone is all set. Now remember, I don't like to put my pasta in my soup, so I have a container with some pasta that's cooked. It's still room temperature, so I'm not going to worry about it cooling down the soup too much, seeing the soup's been boiling for 2 hours. I took the meat out and I cleaned it off the bone. Okay, you can see all the nice fresh vegetables and broth. I love cabbage also in my minestrone, but the cameraman, I promised I wouldn't mention his name, the cameraman doesn't like cabbage, so we don't serve it. Lenticchia, as my nonna would call it. This has barley and spinach, I'll tell you. This will cure whatever ails you. Now I want you to notice in my soups, I leave my garlic huge. So if you see a giant garlic, it's because we have people that need to get that out too. All right, so naturally each soup has to have a little bit of Romano cheese. Okay, so we have our minestrone soup, our cream of broccoli soup, and our pasta lenticchia, or lentil. Thank you for watching Tina Cooks. Have a good night. All right, ready? It's gonna hurt. Oh! Hi. Today, I already forgot. I'm gonna give you the scoop on soup. Here's the scoop on making 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 soup. My knees are gonna be torn out by the time I'm finished. Oh!